Hey Elmo, can you help me tell the other guys that ice cream is ready? I got their favorite, double chocolate raspberry with marshmallow.
Oh, fancy! Hey guys, ice cream is ready! Hey guys, ice cream is ready! Hey guys, ice cream is ready!
Elmo, I don't want ice cream. Can't you see I'm dancing? I'm practicing my new moves.
Wait, come on! Don't you all vote for what to have for dessert? We all said ice cream.
Well, can't you see? No one here wants ice cream. Now go away. Let's hit it. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't hear you. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't hear you. Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back to another week of Children's Time. I don't know if you've ever felt what Elmo just felt. Trying to tell your friends or your family about good news may not always be easy. Doing something good for others and loving others is actually quite hard if you have to do it for a long period of time. When was the last time you said, I've had enough? No more of this nonsense. I quit. Well, that's pretty much what the prophet Elijah said to God. But before we get to that, let's backtrack a little bit. Today we're going to be reading a story in 1 Kings. Actually, the book of 1 Kings and 2 Kings is all about the kings of the Israelite people and how these kings have failed to lead the people to worship God. So when the people rebelled against God, God sent messengers, prophets, to deliver his own word, to tell the people to return to God, for he is the only true God. But of course, the people didn't want to listen, and so did the kings. Kings like King Ahab and Queen Jezebel, who was really into worshiping false gods, killed many of God's prophets. Being a prophet didn't simply mean that people were going to listen to you. Actually, their lives were always in danger. Elijah was a prophet of God. He was obeying God to the best he could. He spoke what God told him to both King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. Yet things were going downhill, and all of it went rock bottom when he had to flee for his life because the queen was determined to kill him after Elijah had proved who was the true God in the battle on Mount Carmel. Let's read 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 1 to 5. And there it says, Ahab told Jezebel everything Elijah had done. He told her how Elijah had killed all of the prophets with a sword. So Jezebel sent a message to Elijah. She said, you can be sure that I will kill you, just as I killed the other prophets. I'll do it by this time tomorrow. If I don't, may the gods punish me greatly. So Elijah was afraid. So he ran for his life and he came to Beersheba in Judah. He left his servant there. Then he traveled for one day into the desert. He came to a small tree and he sat down under it. He prayed that he would die. Lord, I've had enough, he said. Take my life. I'm no better than my people of long ago. Then he lay down under the tree and he fell asleep. So Elijah had to run for his life, for the queen was after him. He was tired. He was in the middle of nowhere, in the wilderness, and he sat by a tree. And he told God, I had enough. I don't want to do this anymore. Elijah was ready to give it all up. He was so exhausted to this point. Then he fell asleep. But where was God? Here we come to a very interesting part. A messenger came to Elijah, an angel of the Lord. Now, whenever you see the phrase an angel of the Lord, in the Old Testament, it is referring to a messenger being sent by God to bring God's word to people. You see, the Elijah, the prophet, was also a messenger who was met now by an angel messenger sent by the Lord. It's kind of like a meeting between two messengers. So, what was the message? Let's read verse 5 to 6. Suddenly, an angel touched him. The angel said, get up and eat. Elijah looked around, and near his head he saw a flat cake of bread. It had been baked over hot coals. A jar of water was also there. So Elijah ate and drank. Then he lay down again. Isn't this message quite odd? I mean, Elijah wanted to quit and he was all ready to give up. And yet, What God did was to send him an angel to give him food? God's ways is surely unexpected and strange at times, but God sees Elijah's needs. You see, food represents strength, and we will have energy after we eat. That's just how our human body works. God is giving Elijah what he needs, and God strengthens and encourages those who are faithful to him. The first message that was delivered by the angel was, "Get up and eat." After Elijah had his strength back, he went on to travel through 40 days and 40 nights into the wilderness, and he came to a mountain, Mount Horeb. You see, mountains are special places in the Old Testament. They're often describing a place to meet with God. God's answer to Elijah's cry was his own presence. God was going to show Elijah who he is. Just as Elijah was ready to give up, God was telling him that he is the only one in control. Through the wind, the earthquake, and the fire, and then finally the small voice, God showed himself to Elijah, letting him know that he has a plan. So what does this have to do with us? Well, if you've ever felt like what God has asked you to do is super duper very hard, then yes, you're not alone. Maybe it was hard for you to share the love of God with your friends or your neighbors. Maybe it was so hard to keep praying for a sick family member to get well. Or maybe it's just been too hard trying to get along with your sibling. It's true that when God has asked us to love others and glorify him, it gets pretty hard and we get discouraged and we might want to give up. But we can trust that God is bigger. He has ways of working that we cannot see or expect. But what we can expect is that he will speak to us. Yes, he will speak to you and me. We need to wait and watch. Listen to God and wait for him to reveal himself. So boys and girls, I encourage you this week, as you go through your devotions in the Advent booklet, as you think about God, wait for him to speak to you. So get your Advent booklet ready. Turn to page 21. For today, write in, God is bigger than write or draw in a hard task that you've been trying to do and that you know that God would want you to do. Thanks for joining me this week, and I'll see you